Alrighty, I think that should have given enough time for anyone doing any ad break stuff. But welcome to Data Week. We've got some fun things in store. I'm streaming a lot this week, so if you get bored of me, I'm sorry. But let's make sure we got everything. I'm just making sure everything's good to go. So that way, that's what I need. Alrighty. So, return of Stickerbase. If you've watched a couple of my streams, or if you've been to any of my previous sticker base attempts, emphasis on attempt, you'll notice that I really need something to manage my sticker collection because I have way too many stickers. And I'm not sure it's super obvious, but there's a couple bags and things on my tool chest over there, and that's all of my stickers. I have quite the collection, especially now that I've become an MLH coach, etc., etc. And so I'm like, I would really like to stop grabbing stickers I already have. But especially since there's other hackers who are also collecting stickers, want to show off their collection, but can't exactly be like, oh, here's my sticker binder, or like, oh, I have all these stickers. You know, you can totally believe me. Wouldn't it be so neat if instead you just have a digital book or a digital dashboard, something like that? Would be so nice. So we're going to try one more time and actually make this happen. So for those of you who are new joining, welcome. Anyone who's coming back, obviously I see you in chat. Abhinav, welcome back as always. Glad that you are checked in and good to go. If anyone needs the check-in link, I'll post it again toward the end if I remember, but fingers crossed on that. We're going to do a lot of setup stuff today, but these are the notes that we'll be using. I don't share these notes, but this is how we scope things and how I keep track of what happened during the stream and what we'd like to do in future streams. Normally, I take a lot of feedback from folks where I'm like, oh, we could have used this library. Oh, we should try it here. Oh, we should try this feature. Nah, we are optimizing. We are getting this thing done. We have 4 streams and we will do our best to have an end-to-end product finally, because I have spent a little more time than usual to actually get this working. But let me very quickly introduce myself because I'm like extra certain we've killed all the we've gotten past all the outbreaks, the ad breaks. So by now you're like, you haven't missed much. Don't stress. My name is Cecilia. I'm an MLH coach. I just defended my PhD on hackathons. We can chat about that if you'd like. Feel free to ask me questions. But the expectation I have for streams is usually like, if you have questions, regardless of whether it's like, why didn't you use this? Or I really don't understand why we're doing XYZ. Ask them, because chances are I have the answer, or if I don't have the answer, I'll show you how I'll get to that answer. And if I still don't have an answer, I will go research afterwards and come back on my next stream and do that. And I have 4 of them this week, just on Stickerbase. So yeah, but cool. Let's get into it. As I said, I really need a sticker manager because I mostly need something to tell me, hey, don't grab that sticker, girl. You got like 20 at home. Because every time I come home from an event and I'm like, oh, I got more stickers. And I'm like, oh, I totally had those. Yeah. So as far as what our stack will look like by the end, fingers crossed, hopefully, unless I break something, because that always happens. We're starting out with React, plain and simple. We're going to use Mongo as our database. And then we'll be using AWS to host things toward the end, just because, like, I'm not super familiar. I've always done things in localhost, so, like, let's just locally host things, make sure it's all good, and then we'll deploy, and then we'll look into what that's like, because I need to do that more, but I'm scared of it. So the reason I'm using React is there is actually a crop library out there to handle images. So like, let's say you take a photo, like a picture with your phone, you want to upload it, but you don't want to save that like, you know, high scaled image, and you only want like a specific square cut out of a sticker or something. So I found 2 crop libraries. We're using one of them, seeing how far it takes us. And if it ends up working out, we'll keep working with it. If not, we'll switch to the other one. But I did choose the React Easy crop because it said it was easy. So we'll get into that today. And then as for why I'm using MongoDB, I don't have a strong schema structure right now. I'm like, it could be this, it could be that. What if it changes later? What if I need to change things? And MongoDB offers that flexibility that I really want. versus like PostgreSQL or SQLite or whatever. And so in previous instances, my plan was always to use Mongo. I broke Mongo, and so I had to switch to SQLite, and it was a very frustrating time. So this time I have it fixed. I know how to get around it, presuming I don't change any more settings, which I am not allowing myself to do until the end of this like series. We shouldn't run into that. And then as far as AWS, that's actually, I have credit in both, and I'm like, I could use either, and I've used GCP as well. GCP just wasn't on the docket for this one because I'm like, let's start with AWS because I just hear about it more often. It is more flexible compared to Azure with regards to settings, particularly when it comes to blob storage, where blob storage is like, we're going to be storing images. And I also don't want to run up my costs, which is why it's so important that we have a good crop library. We do some down sampling because I don't want to pay out the wazoo of all the storage space I'm going to need for this, especially if I have a lot of unique stickers. So we'll find out about that later. I'll look into costs and everything when we get there. Because then I'm just gonna be like, oh, log into this website on my phone, upload. Yeah, that's gonna be dangerous. So scoping this appropriately because things have gotten out of hand all the times I've tried to do this project. Even when I was planning it, I was like, oh, I gotta do this. It was so out there that I was like, okay, let's bring ourselves back. Let's scope it down. What is our minimum viable product or project? And this is something I tell to people all the time whenever I'm out coaching an event or I'm organizing my event. I always have hackers come up to me and they're like, I've never hacked before. Like, how do I do this? And so we're going to take it like a hacker, one step at a time, one feature at a time. We're going to get the scary stuff over with, which is the uploading images, not specifically to a bucket. But yeah, so our first goal is just upload images. Like, can we at least save images to like some folder on the back end? Can we at least crop the images? If we can get like nameability and downsampling, that would be great. But because we're all doing this like locally hosted, I can just delete stuff if it takes up too much space. And it's a good way to like, gradually step into things, which is what my goal is. Like, we're going to wrap up the year, take it nice and chill, all that stuff. And of course, on the flip side, we want to be able to retrieve those images. I would like some form of like authentication. I don't want just anyone being like, let me just go spam photos or something, right? So I want to hopefully eventually set up like an authentication system so it can just be like, hey, it's actually me who's logged in, like accept photos from just me for now, that maybe somebody else could also like do their own self-hosted version. So that way this is like their personal dash. They host their own instance. No need to worry about people like hacking in, all that kind of stuff. And I want to have some flexibility, of course, with like replacing the image. Like maybe I take a bad photo, it happens. That's probably a lesser goal there. But yeah. And then database. So we are, of course, doing data week. And so working with image data, there's so many different things you can do with it, but we're using it like a database of like a record of images. And so in previous streams, we've spent a lot of time on the schema. And honestly, we're only going to spend one stream on the schema itself and actually put that together and linking it back to Mongo. But I do have another stream which will go into a very much real world application of how I actually got started with databases. I did not learn it in a classroom. I learned it on the fly at my first internship where they're like, here's a CSV. We want this in a database. And I was like, okay, sure. I ended up in the weeks that I was learning about it, surpassing what my friends had learned in the class. But it was very intense. So there's a whole other stream like actually going through and processing data in a very real and very unfair environment. So we're going to keep playing simple with setting up that MongoDB schema anyway. But again, that's future wise. Right. So we are at part 1, and as always, I always have my checklist. This project has really been living rent-free in my mind, even though I was writing a whole PhD. And I was still like, man, I really need this Stickerbase. I really, really want a database, because I would go to events, I would pick up so many stickers as like a stress relief, and then I'd be like, oh no, we're back. We have not escaped the problem. So we're gonna first set up the simple form, and then we're going to get familiar with the React crop library, play with it. If we have some time, we'll work on displaying images for the homepage. Fairly simple. We will see what bugs we run into. I did actually pre-work some of the stuff, so I actually do have a functioning thing to briefly show you what we're going to work toward. Let me go pull that up. I think I actually stopped the server like a moron. Yeah, I did. Go ahead and run that. Yeah, like I said, we are prepared this time. I want this thing to happen and be done, or at least be at a point that I can just like prettify it. There we go. Yeah, so this is what we're gonna work toward. Yeah, I know it. I know it sucks. But we're gonna get very simple dashboard. We're gonna be able to upload images, crop them, which is gonna go ahead and show us that. It's gonna show you my files, which is not ideal. I'm just gonna go pull up an image really fast. That is something that I'm okay with showing on stream because it'd be awkward otherwise. Oh, I need a good. Yeah, here's a good meme. This is when I was a mentor, when I was like, hey, no one's asking questions. So like maybe I want to like crop this, right? Or I want to zoom in on this guy's face and I want to save that. And so I haven't quite figured out why this doesn't work when I upload a new image, but if I refresh it, it will actually show the image that I've saved, which like we are getting somewhere, at least in this workshop. But that's our end goal today. Try and get up to uploading or cropping a photo, uploading it. If it renders, great. If not, that's next stream's problem. But yeah, I'll go ahead and close that up. Cool. Now that we know what we're working toward, let's see. Folks are asking about my new guitar. I actually have not bought a new guitar. Surprisingly, oh, you know what? It's not that surprising. I have a 3D printer now. So that's the new thing in my office. It is quiet because I was like, oh, I can't have it printing stuff while I'm on stream today. It would be an interruption. But guitar-wise, I have an acoustic and I have an electric. It's the same from, I think, last time. There's my very untuned, nice blue guitar. And then my, classic acoustic. Standard. Fun fact, both of those are lefty guitars, so like no one can play them except me, which is great. Let me also very quickly turn on the fan. It's warm in here. Alrighty. The afternoon sun is coming in and burning. It's not very cold here right now, which really sucks. Okay, we've done the administrative stuff of figuring out what the plan is. Everybody knows where we're going, what we're doing. Let's actually do it now. So I use Visual Studio Code for everything. So if you don't have that up, go right ahead and either download or start it. Let me go ahead and get rid of that banner because by now you should have checked in. There's just something about people's excitement for the various instruments in my room. I appreciate the enthusiasm. I actually haven't played in like months because I was so busy writing my dissertation, and now I'm like, oh, I'm free. I could play again, and I'm like, I think I'm just gonna do nothing. So yeah, I will eventually start playing again. Both those guitars are terribly out of tune, so that will be the first thing, and then rebuilding my calluses, and then seeing if I still remember how to read tabs and sheet music and whatnot. Oh, you are totally welcome to follow along. Obviously, if you do fall behind, you're welcome to ask questions. If you feel like I'm going too fast or something, or you've missed something, these are recorded, so you'll be able to watch this on YouTube after we're done. Let me just clear some space as well, because I've been bebopping between some other stuff. But yeah, so go ahead and open up Visual Studio Code. We're going to start with a new React project, but we're also going to do... I use command line, use your preference, but I'm making 2 folders. The first one is going to be our backend folder. And I'm also going to make a new React project. So if you don't have NPM or NPX, now's a great time to get it. And we're going to just call that front end. So what I've done here is I'm starting a new React project for our front end. And I'm starting a backend project, making just that directory for right now. Got a couple libraries we want to install on both sides. And what I'm doing here is the front end will, of course, be our dashboard. The back end will be our server to save our images, start getting an idea of what the communication between the two will be, like our routes, eventually our MongoDB setup, schemas, all that jazz. So that way we can, again, have an end-to-end solution that I actually host and use. I'm so excited for. I really need this. It's going to take a little bit. But again, if you don't have a current version of Node and npm, as you can see, I have some errors, some old dependencies, and kind of like, versioning will handle itself. I think you should be able to not have issues, even with how old this is. I don't think you should have too many issues running React as is. I was wondering, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, go to sleep. Okay, this is a great question. Normally, I actually do work in Python, and that usually does involve me setting up a virtual environment of some sort, whether I'm using Conda, which I've moved away from, to just using Python environments or like a PyEnv or something like that. React and Node.js in general, more specifically Node.js, you can do versioning, and it's default that you are going to do versioning. So you'll probably install npm through or npx, which will handle npm, Node.js, etc., and it will do all the versioning for you as if you were to download Python. The nice thing, though, is that you don't have to go and be like, oh, pip install pyenv, and then you need to go set it up. You don't have to do any of that, because by default, unless you say otherwise, libraries will typically be installed local to the file. And we're just about to get into that. So I'll show you through the backend folder. I'm going to go ahead and jump into backend. And I'm going to say npm init. Go ahead and just do some defaults there. I don't mind too much. I'm going to do npm install. And this is where that local bit is going to be. Express mongoose cores and .env. Okay, so I'm listing a bunch of libraries. So if you're not familiar with Node.js, like npm is my package manager, and I'm installing Express, which is a routing library. So if I did, let's say it's like /home, /pages, /images, whatever, that will handle that for you. Mongoose, oops, the comment is hiding it. Thank you. I haven't hit enter yet, so you're good. So let me also zoom in some more. That was terrible. Let's not do that. So this npm install is going to install a bunch of libraries for me. This is our pip install, if you will. But there, you could do -i or -g. -g is going to be global, but by default, this is all going to be local to the specific folder. And once I hit enter, it's going to go ahead and install everything in the backend folder, which is going to be these node modules. You'll see it's making this package log, package JSON. It's super long just because I have a lot of libraries that I'm working with. If I were just installing, let's say, Mongoose, which is the library that handles MongoDB, then it would just be npm install Mongoose. But because I know what I'm using, I can just write it all in one line, and it's super nice. Because I like I said, I know what I'm doing. It's like, oh, I want this and this and this and this. And at any point in like working on this, if let's say I have another library that I'm like, oh, we should totally use that, I can just add that like I would like a pip install. Yeah. The install previously was npm init -y, and that just sets up your basic project information, kind of like this JSON here, this package JSON. I'll go ahead and scroll up. So as you can see, the name is the folder. It says the version. I just did npm -y because it's just easier for it to just fill out stuff instead of me manually being like, oh, I guess it'll be backend. I guess it'll be the, and I have to type it in line by line by line, which I didn't want to do. So I can go ahead, if I didn't like what npm init -y gave me, I could go into my package JSON and then just edit any of this, as you can see. And so these dependencies are the things that I used npm install on, where now it's like, oh, hey, like these are the things that are compatible with your current version of React, and so on. And then let me pull that back up so that way you can see it. Come on. Oh, whatever. This was the original command. So somehow managed to delete it. Go figure. But yeah, so this is setting up our back end. And let's go ahead and switch to our front end where I believe, what are the libraries? Yeah, here's my list. I'm gonna go ahead back into the front end. So these are both Node.js projects. But the thing is, they're set up differently. Where because I used React, it already did all the setup for me of all the required projects it would need. So we can see that the package JSON is totally different for the front end than it is from the back end, which is nice. I mean, again, like it did it for us. Somebody just asked, what is Multer? In my searching, working with ChatGPT, etc., it was suggested that I use Multer as a way to deal with files. So because I'm going to be uploading images, this seems to be a library that handles those more complex form submissions. So rather than just being like, oh, of course I'm going to submit, like text, like my name is, or my age, or other attributes that are very simple and easy to represent in, say, a JSON or other forms of data structures. Images are a lot harder. And if we are working with blobs, all that kind of stuff, Multer is just a way to process that like image submission, which is why we're using that. So good question. Because when it was suggested to me, I was like, what is this? Like, why are we using it? But let me go ahead and pull up, because I actually did. Let me see, where is it that I have this? There is a very quick link that I have. So Multer is supposed to make it easy to upload files. Specifically, it covers complex file uploads, such as having multiple files or video uploads. And you can implement file size limits, custom filtering, all sorts of really nice things that we would want to make sure that, let's say, if we have this in an AWS storage, we don't want to just blow it up with massive photos, because like these days with like our fancy phones taking high quality photos, we kind of don't always need it to be so nice, right? And so this helps us work with like partially the forms themselves as you would like in an API, and then it'll do some of that for us, which is nice. Whereas the thing that I really wanted to, so it'll let us upload files, handle the body request. Let's see where else it is. Yeah. So they selected a bunch of different files. Let me also zoom in really quick. So they selected a bunch of different images, like a PDF, SVG, JPEG, and these are all varying sizes of files. But now you get a little more information about like where was it uploaded and how big is it, and all sorts of information that would be very nice to have, especially as you, again, work with a variety of things. So very versatile, in my opinion. But it's a new thing for me too, where there is a limit to how much I can explain to this. My understanding was just like, it makes my life easier with files that are non-standard or with data that is not just integers, strings, booleans, right? All right. Continuing on. And feel free to keep asking questions, folks. Like, we are going to get through a decent amount today. I have vowed not to get too distracted because I planned for this. Cool. Let's go ahead and we're going to work in the front end to get started, where we're going to build up that what we're looking at, what we're working with, and then we'll focus on that back end. So we've done our setup. Let's go to source, go to app.js. And so you can see there's a lot of default stuff. So if you're not familiar, you would normally go on your front end side, npm start, which if you're ever confused about how to run a React app or maybe any front-end application, go to the package JSON and go to the script section. And ideally, there is going to be some form of command here about starting that will let you run your own locally hosted server. So npm start, remember I'm using npm as a way to start off any commands I'm running instead of node like I would for the backend. And I'm going to go ahead and do npm start. It's going to tell me, oh, it's running in localhost 3000 or 5000. But yeah. Oh, good to know. Alrighty. So it went ahead and it opened stuff for me. It said I couldn't find web vitals, so I'm going to go ahead and go delete that because I don't care about it too much. Where is it? Report. Can't find in front end source. Yeah, because it doesn't exist there, I guess. I don't want it though. Can I delete it from somewhere? I know I deleted it earlier. It was under. Yeah, we're just gonna delete it from here. And it's just because I don't need Web Vitals right now. That's probably a problem. Yes, let's delete this line. Hit save. Okay, so it rebuilt. And originally it was showing me an error, right? And now it's no longer showing me any errors. So this is a empty React app preloaded with a bunch of wonderful goodies that we're going to get rid of, basically. Switch back. All I installed was React, but that's because I already had Node.js installed. So if you do not have Node.js installed, let me go find it. Alright. If you want Node.js, you can just go straight to nodejs.org. You will get your NPM, your node, all that stuff. Again, right now it doesn't really matter what version we're using because it all is fairly recent-ish. And then on top of that, I already had React, so install React. You don't need to install things. That's great. How to start a new project. Yes, I would like to use it without a framework. We did npx create React app, I think. Yeah. So I already had React installed as a library, but because React itself is another library, you can just run that. Let me go pull that line specifically. Specifically, you need npx create React app. Yeah, not the best explanation. There's a bit of a gap here where I'm realizing I'm not doing a great job explaining. I have things already-ish, I think. Actually, is there another? Yeah, that's default. Where's the thing that I'm looking for? That's the thing. React has started doing all these frameworks and stuff with it, which is great. And I know everybody builds with this, but I'm really lazy and I never do. So I'm making this harder for people. Great. Whoops-a-daisy. We love that. All right. But yes, React and nothing else for now. Showed that it was built. I'm getting back on track. That's right. Now we're installing things. Got ahead of myself. So now we're going to do an npm install. Let me make sure you can see that. Yes. Okay, great. So now on the front end, we are installing things. I want React Router DOM. I want Axios, which is going to be what's going to manage our HTTP requests. And I want React Easy Crop, which is going to be the library that's going to do all our cropping for us. And hopefully we'll do our downsizing. I haven't tested that yet. Go ahead and close those because we don't need it. And so even though it's telling me there's vulnerabilities, I would love to fix these. I have no idea how. I'm not going to for right now. That is a future me problem to learn and probably just go upgrade everything because the reason is my React is out of date. Alrighty. The next thing is we're gonna go ahead and delete most of this. Yeah, we're gonna delete everything in this function app return. We don't need it. Instead, we're gonna make our own. And so we're going to start with router because we have React DOM router, which is going to handle our various pages that we're going to work with. So we need routes. Go ahead and hit enter on that. And you can see that there's some autofill. It's because I have Copilot enabled. Very nice, but usually introduces bugs. We're going to try and reduce my use of Copilot this time around, just because I want things to work. And we want this to be a route. I'm going to take from this. Yeah. All right. And we're going to give this the path of an empty slash. And we're going to give this an element that we're going to deal with momentarily. Let's go ahead and copy this. So we have two routes that we're going to do. The first is going to be a login of some sort. So we'll go ahead and type that out now. Come on. Yeah. So the first element we're going to have is a login, because when we get to a home page where the slash is, we want to make sure that whoever is not authorized to see our dashboard can't get in. So we're going to start out where we just have an empty slash. This is how they get to the first page, that like localhost colon or 3000 slash whatever. The other thing we're going to want is our dashboard, which appears once we've logged in. So we're going to name that. And we're going to give it the element dashboard. We haven't created this yet, so don't freak out if it's going to yell at you that it can't find these things. So if I were to hit save, because I don't have the server running, it's not going to yell at me right down here saying like, you have things that you're referencing that don't exist. That's because we haven't made it yet. Take a shit. So then we know that we're going to need to import these things. So we're going to go ahead and import login. Again, this does not exist yet. And we're going to name these pages just because I think it makes sense to name it pages. And then, of course, it'll autofill a little bit for us. Again, these haven't been created yet, but we are going to do that. So go ahead and hit save. Notably, I have a new folder. So let's go make that in our source folder. Pages. And let's go make our new file login.js. And we're going to make another file, dashboard.js. Okay. Our files exist. Great. We also don't need this logo. And we'll leave app CSS for now. And then the other thing we're going to need is our browser. So we import... Copilot is somewhat helpful, where we have browser router as router, routes, and route, which are all these things I just highlighted. And those are from that React router DOM that we installed in our front-end package. So we have set up the initial bit of our files, but obviously we haven't done anything useful in them. Like, these are just empty files. Nothing will render yet. So let's keep going. So we're going to go ahead and we know that we're going to, so with a JavaScript file, we know we're going to need to export our default login. Oh my goodness. So that's just a way to set up the end of our file. We know that we're also going to need to have our object, which is going to be const login, because it should match what we have on the bottom. And I'm fumble fingering really hard today. Go figure. Look, and it gives us some pre-filled in stuff here. Nice. And we also need to import. We'll save this for later. Let's go ahead and save that. And let's go ahead and copy this over to dashboard, but we're going to change this name. This is dashboard. And dashboard. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close that for a little bit. Let's move this here and here. Alrighty, so we have our pages, login dashboard. This is dashboard. And we're gonna go ahead and run the server and see what it yells at us for. npm start. Should open that tab. And let's come over here. And now we have login, and that's our home page. What if we did dashboard? And now it says dashboard. Nice. So we have our two pages now. We don't want people manually navigating to these things. We want login to show as the very first thing, so when they get to the home page, and then once they are logged in, then it should only show them dashboard. It shouldn't show them the login page. So we'll need to write the conditions for that in a bit. But now we have our functioning a little bit of code here, and this was a mistake. Lesson learned. Let's go ahead and merge that over and that over. And there's no styling applied here. I was quite lazy on that on purpose, just because I want to preview as we do things. Ooh, that's a misspelling. Is not maintained anymore. Nice. Good job. This is very clear that you are not maintaining that. All right, let's keep going on our login page. And then quick pause, any questions? Again, this is very setup heavy, so But again, if you're coming from Python, I'm going through mostly step by step as the best as I can, with some caveats being that I forgot some things, which happens. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and make our form. So we have our login. So with React, you need to have at least some form of encompassing bracket to hold everything, some HTML tag that's going to hold everything that you're returning. You can only return one object, which is going to be our div object for right now. And so we have so that's why we have our header 1. So there are going to be other things in this. We're going to have our form, because again, we want to, cool. I like that autofill so far. We need an input field, and we need that to be our username. So it's going to be of type text for our form, because we know that obviously we're typing in user or password or whatever. So it's always going to be some kind of text. And then structurally, come on, we're going to do that. I know you're yelling that I haven't closed you. Let's go ahead and do that so that way I don't forget. And what else do we need? We need placeholders, so that way we suggest to people like, hey, we want you to type your username. So again, that autofill is really nice there. We want to keep an eye on the values. It's already telling us on change. Let me also go ahead and settings, word wrap. I'll actually just extend that a little bit, we're not doing too much. Okay, so on change is going to be our event tracker. So whenever we've made a change to it, we want to store that value somewhere that we can use in our submission. And we do also want to make it required, because, well, let's do that. Well, you should always have a required username and password, in my opinion. And then we're going to go ahead and just do a break. Yeah, I know. You're yelling at me. So this is what I mean by when I hit save, it's going to yell at me for all sorts of things. That's fine. Let's go ahead and copy this input. And this will become our password. So we're adding this line break here to separate the two. This will be our password. Let's go change those values. And set password. Required. And then did I derp somewhere? We have another, oh. That's why. There we go. Yes, I know. Handle submit, username, set user, all these things is not defined yet. That's okay, because we're making the form right now. Sorry, y'all. I'm also like getting over a cold as usual. So keep choking on my own snot. It's fine. Oh, and we're going to need a button to submit. So here's a fun thing to consider. When, yeah, log in. Come on. Cooperate. Copilot, you are messing me up. Okay, so something to consider with accessibility. When you have a button or any form of thing that requires an interaction based on a click, and you want something to happen, buttons are used to cause an action to happen, such as submitting a form or changing a page. But buttons generally should not be used, again, accessibility-wise, which is pretty important for folks who are not using computers in the same way that, say, an abled person like myself is using. There are things like hyperlinks, which you could call them buttons, but they don't actually do that. Links will route you to other places in the internet or other places within the site. And so you want to make sure that you use the appropriate tags, which is also why we're spending so much time being particular about, like, yes, this input type is text. This placeholder is username. Oops, I forgot to change that. This type is password, because that will remove our ability to see what I type in the password field. So buttons are important, that you use them for form submission and not to say, open a new link elsewhere. Use a hyperlink, use some styling. It should not be named button in your HTML tags. So very important that you use the correct tags for the things that you want to use. Platform aside, what else do I need? Yes. And because this is going to be in our form, we want to say that this is of type submission. Yes, I'm aware. These do not exist. Let's go make them. Where? Let's go scroll back up. Now, this is where React really comes into shine. Thank you, Copilot, where we want to track different states. And I love using React for this, being that for those who are not familiar, React is state-based, which you can kind of start to get the idea from this use state, like what even is use state. Let's say you have made a website, and if something changes because, let's say, I've logged in somewhere, normally you might be like, oh, refresh the page, route them to a new thing, whatever. No, React will do that, but in a different way, where instead of reloading the whole page, it reloads the component with which things need to change. So if that's super nested down into a bunch of components, it'll propagate back up, but it won't reload the rest of the page if it's not connected to other components. So let's say you have like a sidebar and then a login page, and the sidebar really shouldn't change. Well, then your sidebar won't change and your page will not reload, but the state here has changed and it will reload that part, which I find very, very neat from a programmatic standpoint. This is a very like layman, like, how do I put this? It's a very lightweight, high level, like this is kind of an idea of what React's doing, just because that's its selling point and has been for a very long time. Is that it is state-based, so that things will re-render only when something has changed, which means now you need to track those changes to actually render them and make sure that you're not reloading the whole page every time. Let's say someone adds something that, like a letter. You don't want to reload the page. You just want to say, well, render this thing, right? All right. So we've created these. It should stop freaking out. Use state is not defined because I need to go import this. All right. Import React. Use state from React, and handle submit is not there yet because we're going to go make that now. And so you'll see that this is all being done within this JavaScript function. Kind of like classes, kind of not. Like, I liken them to classes even though they're not actually classes. They're just functions, but functions within functions. I can't explain more than that, unfortunately. So we're writing an event handler where on handle submit, so when somebody clicks the submit button, we want things to happen. We're going to prevent the default functionality, which is normally that it would completely reload the page. We don't want that. We're working with React, and the way this form works, we don't need that. And we also want to make sure that, and we're going to do some boilerplate here because we're testing, where if username, and this is JavaScript, so we need to do a triple equal sign. If the username is equal to user, it's not a different string object. We want to look at the content. This is where the difference between the number of equal signs gets nuanced and annoying. And our password matches our expected password of password. Super creative, I know, but again, testing. We'll change that later. Then we want to store not username. We want to store that they are logged in. And so this local storage bit is actually like using your own cache, using like your local browser instance, right? And then that's not it. Thank you, though, Copilot. We're going to write an else. If it's wrong, we want to say invalid username and password. So Copilot's actually kind of being helpful right now. Quite nice. But okay, so we set logged in. Now what? Like none of this actually has anything to do with like changing the page to make sure it's dashboard. It's also telling us is logged in is not here. That is because that's going to be, come on. Actually, I did not. Let me check something really quick in my cheat sheet. Yeah, we're gonna need that elsewhere. Okay, so this doesn't exist, but let's go comment this out for right now. And let's go back to our home page. Got ahead of myself. Okay, now we have a username and password. And I forgot a break statement to put this login button beneath. So let's go do that really quick. So cool. Now that's on a different line. Nice. Is local storage okay to save stuff like user ID? Sometimes do that and tie it to my context or whatever global state I'm using. My understanding of local storage, which is out of date probably, especially with the weird thing about cookies nowadays, local storage would be a great place to put a session ID rather than a user ID. And so this gets into like a little higher level about security and authentication. So we're not going to write any authentication from scratch because that would be a whole other stream that is multi-part and everything else. It is a very good practice project that I actually would like to do on my own, but there are tons of libraries out there that already do authentication for you that actually leverage like good enough security, which is like log in with Gmail, log in with Facebook, log in with whatever else. And then there's like the email login where it's like create a username and password, get confirmation and verify your email, all that stuff. So the best way to handle logins is to use a session ID. When, let's say I'm using session ID in this instance, when I submit my username and password, what I want to happen is that it's going to create a session ID associated with my user. It's going to set an expiration time. So ideally I should get logged out or have an expired session ID. Call it within a day, let's take bank accounts or credit card accounts. They are usually expiring within about 5 to 15 minutes of you logging in because let's say you walk away and it's a shared computer because you forgot to log out. You don't want people having access to your information. So having an expired session ID, and when that time runs out and you keep checking like, hey, it's been this much time, is the session ID expired? Or have you said like refresh my session ID or whatever? Then it's going to be like, oh, cool, like we're good. But if it is expired, it'll be like, let's log out. You are no longer secure. And so that's a great way of ensuring that your user stays safe. And that's a better way to use your local storage because a session ID is not permanent. Let's say someone did go into local storage, and let's do it now. I'm pretty sure, let's see, where is it? I can't quite remember exactly where it is. Memory? No. I want access to... There's a way that you can get... What am I looking for? Let me Google this really quick because I'm like... There we go. I was on it and I was silly. It was there, and then local storage. That's user messages. What am I looking for? I want you to tell me. No, I don't want performance information. I'm specifically trying to pull it up. You know what? It might be because I haven't used it yet, actually, that it doesn't exist. But what I really want to do, let's see. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Okay. So local storage is what I was trying to get to. But ideally, I would want to have some form of like, see, there's a session storage on YouTube here on the bottom. Session ID means there's no information that somebody could find about their username, their password, because you're not saving it there. Instead, you're saving a time expiring soon ID. And so you can keep generating new ones and basically keep your user a little more safe than if you were like saving their user ID, where it's like, oh, well, if their user ID is here, then maybe you might be able to, flub the system a little bit and get further in that you might have without it. So security, it's under application. I derped. Lovely. There we go. Yeah. So there's session storage, local storage. Right now we're saving it to local storage, but as you can see, since there is a session storage, that might actually be a better place to put it. For now, we're going to keep going with local storage because again, we're locally hosting. It's fine, but that is something that we would need to come back and fix because it's not great practice. And notably, we're only actually storing in local storage the fact that we're logged in, and that's the goal. Our goal is to set the item that we'll create is logged in to local storage, which again has no information as to what our username and password were if we had a significantly stronger thing than just user and password. So future-wise, future templating, this handle submit would actually go through a different process entirely, where it would instead of checking like is username equal to user, password, whatever, we would be using an authentication library and saying, hey, here's the user stuff, confirm it's true, or like let them log in, and then it would do whatever else we need them to do. Yes, my hope is to push this stuff to GitHub at the end of the workshop for today. So that way you all can see what we did. There is another version of Stickerbase currently on my GitHub that I need to delete because that was the many times over that we've tried to do this. And I really, really want to be done with this. I really want to get, somewhere with this. Okay. We're leaving this commented out for now. What we are going to do is now jump to dashboard. And we're going to go ahead and add in a few things here. So if we switch gears, so again, this is not locked yet. We are going to eventually make this impossible to get to if you haven't logged in. But let's go ahead and make this so that we don't have to log in all the time, make any changes, refresh, restart, whatever it is. Let's just make our life easier and add the dashboard in. Then handle that. And so we're going to add so my vision for the dashboard, again, that very simple thing is that we just want to say upload an image, right? And so it's not that we need to log out, but we are going to say upload new image. And we're going to do this on click. We want to add a function that we're actually going to make a modal or modal, depending on how you pronounce that. We're going to call that set modal open, and we're going to let that be for now. What else do we want? We also then want to go ahead and make a div. It's already autofilling a little bit. So you can see that it's telling us images map. Cute. Do I want to keep going with this? Images map, image at index, take the key at that index, image source, image alt style with. I don't really want to. I don't need the index. Let's edit this. I don't want them numbered. We'll let this be image.id, so that way we're not just arbitrarily assigning numbers, because images should have uniqueness. And then let's add a dot source. Alt should be image.metadata. And then style. So we are doing a lot of inline styling. We're going to go with that and we'll clean it up later because I don't want to get slowed down. We are going to change this though to be a little bigger. Width, height, and we also want this to be square because it'll look nice and it'll be easier than any weird photos we'll put in. And then we're going to add in, yes, we're going to add in metadata like that. That's good. Make sure this makes sense. For any image and images, image ID. We won't do any margin stuff yet. Image metadata, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Okay. So this is what we want to show after modal stuff, if there's whatever. So the way this is going to look is that we have a button. We're going to have a map of our images. It's going to yell at us that those don't exist yet. We'll get there. But the other thing that we need to add now is going to be, did we close this div? Yes, we did. So we're going to come back and we're going to do our is modal open. If they are open. Oh, I thought I had it on. Rats. It's like Alt Z or something. Yeah, Alt Z. There we go. Come on. Let's close that out. Okay, it is wrapping. I've also zoomed out a little bit, but if the zoom out is too tiny to read, then let me know. Is modal open? Then we want to render things where we're going to say upload modal. We're going to create this shortly on close. I can type today, I promise. Set modal open to false. Yes, this is fine. Let's move this down. Go ahead and save. Yes, I'm very well aware that this doesn't exist yet. We're going to go ahead and go add those now at the very beginning. We're going to go ahead and set those images. Thank you for the modal. And we're going to go ahead and import React. Going to need to add in use effects. And I might be using them wrong at some point in this tutorial because I'm so out of date. It's been been so long. Yes, we're going to need that. And we'll come back to that. Cool. I'm well aware that it does not exist, so let's very quickly go make a components folder, because this is going to be a modal, and this will be upload modal. I need to rename that to JS. All right. Yes, update. You don't need those. That's fine. Okay. We have use effect, which I haven't done anything about that yet. We're getting there, because that's what we're doing next. So, use effect. How do I explain this in a way that makes sense? I'm going to Google it, because I think Google will do a better job explaining this. Get rid of that. We don't need that. No Copilot. You're jumping ahead of yourself there. And then, come on. Yes, that. Okay. Oh, you already gave me that. Great. Okay. So there's something I haven't introduced yet that is going to help us do some things. But as you can see, we now have our button to upload a new image. It's going to fail because we don't have a modal. See? Of course it's going to be an issue because we haven't made it yet. Let's go back to dashboard. Let's see. No, the comments. Okay. There is something that we are going to use from React DOM, which is the use navigate function. Let me go ahead and import that. And this is going to be how we manage all our pages that we need to deal with, where when people are logged in, we want them to navigate to the home page. If they're not logged in, that should be a lowercase. You stop that. Make sure everything is consistent. Yes. And then we also need to make sure that we call the function. There we go. That should, we don't need that. Stop that. No Copilot. Hold up. And we need to uncomment this. And we're going to add that navigate here. Stop doing that. That. And then we need to add that here. Const navigate is going to be that. And yes, import use navigate. Awesome. Is logged in is not defined. Thank you. You are being frustrating. Where am I looking for this one? Did I? Okay, this should be lowercase. Stop doing that. Goodness. Dashboard, logged in. It's under the use effect in dashboard, which I'm pretty sure I set here. We have those. That's fine. Is logged in is fine. And then, is there something I didn't import somewhere? Hang on. What do you mean it's not defined? Did I forget something? Gotta scroll down on my bugs. All right. Is logged in is not defined on login. What do you mean it's not defined? Well, yeah, because I didn't define it here. It's logged in. Oh. That's what I forgot. There we go. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see if this works now. Haha. We have now navigated to our dashboard. Hooray. Great. We have no logout. That's fine. No biggie. But we're getting there. So next we're going to work on that uploading modal file. And once again, we're going to go ahead and say upload modal. I like what you're suggesting, but not quite. So we're going to need to handle on close. And we will have something else to add, but we'll get there. Come on. You like giving me ideas and then you don't. Yes, export default, upload modal. And then what else do we need? Yes, we're going to need to import things. So import React. Gonna need use state, use callback. Cleanliness, and then we're gonna need to import cropper from React. Easy crop, which now we're getting into like what we were intending to play with. And then we need to do some settings. From there, we haven't created that, and we'll pause there on that one. And now we need to do a little more information. Images. Set images. Use state no, because we don't have anything yet. Hey, thank you, Copilot. You're actually doing that right. Yes, that is correct. Oops. Show me the preview again. I want to make sure that's right. Cropped area. Is it Alt-Z? Cropped area pixels. Come on. Set cropped area pixels. Use state null. Yes, we want that one. And then let's go ahead and jump to our return. We're going to need to do some work there, but we're going to have our div. And I'm going to have a... Oh. I don't like everything you're giving me. Yes, I know crop image doesn't exist yet. That's going to be in components, I believe. No, utils. New folder. Yes, that is a new folder, yeah. Just in case there's other stuff. And I'm naming it crop image. That should be a .js file. Keep forgetting that. No, don't update that. You don't need to. Let's close that and come back to it. Alrighty. What do we need? We have. Oh, is this another form again? Yes. No. Let's make a div. Proper. This doesn't need to be. There we go. Okay. And then for settings, let's see what it gives us. Image, crop, zoom. We want a square aspect ratio, so let's change that to 1. Set crop is on crop change. That's fine. On zoom change, what is this? On crop complete. Let's make this a separate function. Just so that way it's cleaner. Yes, I'm aware it does not exist yet. We're getting there. Let me just finish up. Okay, so we have cropper. We'll come back to that. There's some more work there. The other thing I want is going to be a button, which will be our cancel and our save button. And that will be on close. We want that to work because if they hit cancel, we don't want them to upload things. And then this one I'm just blatantly copying from my work because it's just easier because we're going to get into this handle save. Handle save. Come on. Save. Okay. Let's talk about how images work and saving it. Oh, I need to change actually one thing. Right. So we want to see if image exists, and if so, we want it to be. So this is like if an image has already been uploaded. Oh, is you telling me things? Yes, good. Okay, let's talk about it. So if there has been no image uploaded to that upload that we're going to work with, that we're going to crop, then we want to show, hey, like, be willing to accept images, and on change. Let's make this cleaner and put this in a function. Yeah, this should be on change handle file change, just in case there's other things we need to add to it. I don't want it to be annoying to deal with. We don't want it to be null. That's what it is. This gets moved in here, where that, we need a div for this, don't we? Yeah, div. All right, What do you want from me? That's closed. Why are you freaking out? We have 102. Oh, that's goofed. Okay. Return div header 2. Why are you freaking out? What did I miss? You have a not image. We want to have an input. It's in parentheses. And then we have file change, which is the function in there. We're accepting any images, only of type file. This is a separate div. And then a curly bracket on 14. Did I close a div? Whoa, lots of things getting wonky. All right, let's walk through one by one. Return. I don't think it said it needs a curly bracket. I think it's because it should have been ended here. A div is freaking out here and here. Oh, did I get rid of? Okay, well, there's less issues with that. Nope, it's still yelling. Okay, let's pause. Here's this. There's a return. Okay. No. Okay, and we want to enclose this in a div because it has to be enclosed in a div. Okay. That's not the issue. Great. Let's try again. I don't want to follow you, Copilot. You're goofing me up a bit. Is it supposed to be? You know what? Let's make it. Come on. Let's make a second div. No, it just doesn't like that. Let's do it manually. Upload new image. Okay. And then we're changing this bit. Oh, wait. No, this needs to be changed. Handle file change. She's going to yell at us for that. So, yeah, let's have it be a blank function for now. Okay, that's still fine. Weird. What did I do here? I'm looking at my notes like, what? Let's unpack this. Because there's something funky going on here that I goofed on. Where did I copy this from? All right. This is the code I have that works. I don't know why it didn't like us. Alrighty. Well, if image does not exist, do thing, else cropping. We have this. This is something that didn't get autoed by Copilot, but this is that way if an image is, let's say an image is smaller than the crop window that we create, we want the image to fill the crop window because we just don't want a weird, like, we don't want it to be smaller than the crop window. It's easier. Okay. I don't know why you flipped out. Oh, Zuka. Oh, you know what? maybe I did put it in a div. And these are some style things that I'm not adding right now, but we'll come back to. That's fine. We'll delete that really quick. All right. I'm not sure what I did that it didn't like, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm just letting you autofill. We're gonna fill it in. All right, handle save is not defined, so let's go do that. Handle save. I'm just letting it autofill, and then we'll clean it up. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. All right. Just save. Okay. It stopped yelling at me. Now I can actually go finish these functions properly. Okay. So for handling a file change, this has to go. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and say const. No, we're not doing that. But we do want the files. We need some more conditions here where if file const reader new file on load set singular image because we're not replacing all of ours, and then that. So let's go get rid of this. All right, Copilot, you're getting there. All right, going through what just happened here because I cheated with Copilot. When we upload a file, it has to select that. And then we want to open that file such that we can then crop it. And so in this instance, I'm not sure what the read as data URL is actually. Let's go read as data URL, which is say method of the file reader object in JavaScript, read the contents of a file or blob object, convert it into a data URL, which is a base 64. Why are we doing that? Huh, I guess it's to display an image. Cool. I let it autofill and it worked, which is why I don't know it. So this is why you always figure out why it is something is doing something when you use Copilot, just in case, because it does add weird things. On crop complete is fine. This has got disastrously messed up. We'll rewrite that. All right, so we do want it to be async because we want to deal with, because it'll take some time to like crop the file and save for us. So we want to try. Let's go ahead and catch our errors. And we're going to say console.error. Rather than just passing that, we do want to give a little more detail. So error cropping image, because this is going to be handling the save, remember? So we want to know what the heck's going on. Cool. Yes, I know. You're going to yell at me because there's not that yet. We're getting there. All right, so let's deal with our cropped image. Await cropped image. Console. We don't need to do that. You Copilot, please. Copilot. We're using form data. And this is an image, thank you. Cropped image. Let's give it a name for now. It's going to be the same for all of them. We'll come back and fix that. How are we doing on time? We got 45 minutes. All right, we are moving. Could be a little better. Metadata, some metadata, good enough. Let's make the custom metadata for consistency's sake. Custom metadata, and then we want to deal with the uploaded images. So upload image. I don't know why you're fetching when we're not doing that right now. Oh, goodness. Copilot. Yes, this. And then we need to do an on-save. That's what's missing. I said we were going to come back to this. Okay. No, not on mouse leave. Stop it, Copilot. Okay. We haven't talked about saving. Let's go do that. Did I do everything? We haven't done the crop image file, which we need to do. Close set image. This should be set image singular. Set images elsewhere, and that's fine. Handle file change, crop complete, handle save. And the rest should be fine. We're not doing anything styles related. Not yet, at least. And then cropper. Okay. Upload image is not defined. Oh, right. This, let's not add that yet. That has backend stuff that we need to do. Alrighty. Let's go talk about crop image. So I made that file and I moved away from it because I was like, we must finish what we are doing. Crop image is going to tell us, or at least give the function to process our image. And this is going to be a simple util function, which is why it's just image. We don't need a file name. We do want the source. Let's do that and close that. And we're going to go ahead and return a new promise because originally we were asyncing waiting for it. So let's do that. And we need to, what happens if it can't be saved? So let's add that reject back in. And we're going to make const image is equal to new image, and image source is going to be equal to new image. And so we're basically not making the metadata, but starting to deal with all the information that comes with it, which is not easy. And also why I got stuck for so long. And we also need to create the canvas in which we're going to do crops with, which it's Copilot is so far nicely filling things in, but I'm pretty sure it's going to introduce an issue very soon. All right, canvas.height is equal to crop height, not minus equals. I need that. Okay, and yes, the canvas needs to be drawing things. Okay, so we have draw image, crop X with height 0, 0. Seems fine. All right, let's go investigate that crop image function. React easy crop, and that is draw image. Let's see if it. We did that. I'm looking for. Where is it? Oh, lovely. Oh, it's not. So it's. There we go. Are we doing draw image? Yes. All right. So the reason I pulled this up is because, again, I used Copilot for this, and we should know what the heck's going on. Widen this a little bit. Zoom in a bit. All right. So we are using the draw image, which we set up here with get context in 2D. And so there's a couple different things you can add. We are drawing a canvas or drawing an image as well as the cropped part of it. Let's see. SX, x-axis coordinate, 3 to 5 argument, y-axis coordinate. This is really just to center the crop window, I think, on the image. So that way we can properly mess with the image, I guess is the best way to put it. The part we're missing, that's right. Image on load, is this still in the same function? Yes. That's what's missing as well. All right. We need canvas to blob. Blob. And so at this point, we're using blob terminology because it just refers to generally objects. And we want to say if blob exists, resolve it with itself. And otherwise, give us an error. New error. Canvas is empty or failed to generate a blob. This is something else I used ChatGPT for, just because I was really confused about what I was looking at. I'm doing a terrible job explaining it because I'm still confused about it. So ask ChatGPT to explain things. But it worked, and I'm like, but why did it work? All right. And then we need that and image done on error. This is not what I have. Copilot, why are you giving me things that don't quite pop up? All right, still not happy with it. What are you yelling at? Upload modal, get cropped image. It's because I didn't. Copilot is killing me. There we go. Let's go grab a file. Hey, we have a crop window. Let's crop it. Save. Oh, you flipped out. Oh, it's because I didn't render it. Duh. All right, let's go back to dashboard. That's something I skipped. Yeah, there's like no rendering of images right now because I didn't write that. Whoops-a-daisy. Alrighty. I believe that's going to be another use effect. I can type. We're so close. You're doing good on time though. Let's see what you're not telling me what I need. You're being very frustrating, Copilot. Come on, stop doing that. Okay, let's go load images. Close that. And then we want to try. Let's go catch our errors. And we're going to say error fetching images. Cool, that's done. Close that. Load images. And that. Come on. I feel like I always say this, but I'm working on an unmarked keyboard because I play Life on hard mode, where I don't know what my keys are because I'm fumble fingering pretty bad. Fetched images. To await. Fetch image. Why are you doing this? Set images to fetched images. That's fine. And I don't have a handle save image. That's what's missing as well. Handle save image. Cropped image is a better way to put it. And set images. Let's not do that. Let's do dash previous images. And then let's add the new information about, yeah, there, because we want the metadata. So we have the cropped image metadata, and then let's also give it an ID for later for our database, probably. Yeah, you're going to yell at me about fetch images. Of course you are. We're doing some things out of order. That's because I forgot the unsave here. Unsave. Oh my gosh. And I'll save image. I need an equal sign. That should be one bracket. What? Shame on me. That's fine. Okay. And then fetch images needs to be. That's right. Fetch images is different. That's right. We need to do the back end stuff. We have 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. I did a lot of muttered coding. My bad. Because I was trying to get us to the point that we can actually play with the database tomorrow. Which is not exactly the easiest thing to do because now I'm pretty sure you're confused about why we're doing all these things, and I've at that point just resorted to copying my notes. Let's walk through a little bit. So yes, I know you're giving me issues. We've done the login. That one's generic for now on purpose. We'll fix that later. But there's a lot of setup for, again, these crop images, the upload modal, so that way we can add images and work on our backend. I'm trying to think of what the best way to go about doing this is. We could jump into the backend, or I could, you know what? I have some placeholder code. As you saw, we can at least like upload images and crop them, but it won't display them yet because we haven't set up our backend to actually manage anything. But let me very quickly replace our, where is it? Handle save. Right, I changed that because we need a backend for that. And then I have placeholder stuff. Oh, come on. Is it because I didn't import something? No, that's supposed to be plural. Confirm something. Yeah, that's supposed to be plural. My bad. Prev images. Where is that one on? Oh, dashboard. This is what I get for doing this. I think this is just images. Yep. This is fetch. We haven't done that yet. Use effect is not defined on upload modal because I didn't add it. Except we shouldn't need it. Oh, it's because I put that on the wrong side. Duh. This goes in dashboard. What do you also hate? Well, okay. Now we have images that don't load because that's the placeholder stuff. What am I? Can't resolve crop images and components. Oh, that's because I'm in the wrong section. Oh, we're good. Okay. We have a functional-ish front end that doesn't submit anything or save anything. This will be deleted eventually, and then we'll use this once we get the backend sorted. Let's cancel. Let's kill our server and swap over to backend. Backend. And switch over here. We're going to make a new file called app.js. Let's go ahead and close all the other ones so we don't switch around and do something weird there. Oh, and I need a folder that's going to handle our images. This is going to be uploads. What else do we need? Gonna need a routes file. Okay. Actually, quick pause because I can't breathe. Okay. We will get backend working before the end of the stream. But who is next, actually? Next up is Data and Education Part 1 with Kari. That'll be nice, actually. She's using data visualization to transform the way we analyze and present educational data. Definitely worth checking out. Kari streams are always super fun. I highly recommend. But that'll be immediately after? Yeah, that's immediately after. Okay, I will try and get stuff done in the next 15 minutes. This is very much a follow along because there's a lot of setup kind of stream, which sucks, but I'll actually go through like explaining the schema tomorrow. I promise that we will actually have a more conceptual stream tomorrow, which is probably a good thing. But let's get that back end up. Let me go find this. Okay, so we installed a bunch of things and then we never came back to it on this section. we're going to actually go ahead and start using them. So I mentioned that Express is going to be our routing library. Speaking of routing, things I don't need on that one. We need cores, which is cross-origin requests, because we need to make sure that when we're running our server for front-end and back-end, they don't conflict with each other in the requests, and then everything screams because they're like, no, we think that this is a attack on, this is like a security thing. So if you're not familiar with cross-origin requests, just know it makes life miserable. And then we are going to need that later. Thank you, Copilot. But we also need routes, which I made earlier. And that will be how we're going to manage our Axios requests later, I believe. More specifically, it'll be where we set up things like get all of our images, which will replace our images here in this preview. So that way it actually pulls from the uploads folder that we made. Oh, did I not make a... That's supposed to be a folder. Yes. Make new folder. Uploads. There we go. This will store all of our images when we start submitting them. So we have used, we have set up our Express app, which is, again, going to manage all of our server. Super nice. And we're also going to say app.useCores, because we also, again, want to use what we're leveraging. We're going to use the body parser, so that way we can handle all of the information that we're getting. I'm going to use it from a JSON perspective. And then we're going to make some initial routes that we're going to establish elsewhere in that routes file. So we have 2 routes so far that we're going to work with. One is going to be our uploads path, and another one is going to be our API route. So nice of you, Copilot. We're going to do express.static uploads, and this is how we're going to be able to get our images later. So normally you might just say app.get whatever your path is, and it'll all be in this. Usually. We're not quite. Oh no. Oh, that's rough. It's a rite of passage. I would say not embarrassing, just how it goes. But you figured it out, it seems like, or at least it's been brought up enough that you're like, oh, now I can do something about it, instead of just being like, what is this? Personally, it took me a really long time to deal with cores, so don't feel too embarrassed. It really is a rite of passage, especially when people are doing full stack. Like, I'll be honest, I know conceptually, like, do core stuff to make it easier. Otherwise, cry. So that's my understanding of it. It certainly makes life miserable when you haven't disabled certain things. It pains me. All right, let's go ahead and get this server running. App.get is going to be classic. Yes. Send. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Close that up. And then we're going to make this a specific port because I want to have complete control. Because our React app is running on port 3000, as you can see up here in the URL, or when this has run, I don't see it here. When our front end runs, it'll be like, oh, it's hosted on localhost 3000. We really want to make sure we're not running things on the same port, and be wary if you are working in multiple languages or running multiple React apps or however it is that you change the ports, because then you start getting conflicts, and then you're like, why is it rendering this and not my page? Or just make sure you close up your servers when you're done working with them. Sometimes with certain languages like Python, I've usually actually had servers that like stayed on even though I'm like, hey, I quit the server. Still on, so then I have to go find the process ID, get rid of that, and then I can restart. And that's really annoying. And we're gonna go ahead and say listen, so that it just tells us, yes, we want this to be actually running on. This just makes it easier for us to open it up if we want to localhost. All right. So if we wanted to ever change this for conflict issues, that will solve that. Instead of just letting it do its little default thing, we just want to make sure life is easier. And this was all supposed to be in the app file. I'm having a time. It's Friday, can you tell? My brain checked out. All right. Routes, we're going to do const express as well. We're going to need that. Now we're going to get into Multer, which I remember earlier I said it was used to manage all those files we're going to have to deal with. And And then we're also, again, we're doing this as a local instance for right now. We're going to swap this later. So we are using file saving. We're using files to manage our images for now. So we are saving it directly to my desktop for now. Again, proof of concept. We're working our way up in the world. I just want it working locally before I can figure out how to deploy it. Oh, wow. That's brutal. Oh, very cool. It seems like it's super good with Cloudinary. Nice. Good. That means I found a good library. When I was like given it, when I was researching, I was like, I have no idea if this is a refer or like a recommended library. We'll find out. So it's really nice to actually get some of that validation of like, oh, I did good today. I didn't just choose some random library that's out of date that no one uses anymore. Because that happens. It does. All right, let's configure Multer. So we are using disk storage, destination. We're going to files is equal to, I know how to type. Nope. And we're going to put that in that uploads folder. So upload directory is equal to that path to uploads. That simple. Really nice. And we also want to make sure that things exist, where if for whatever reason the uploads folder didn't exist, make it exist. This is really nice if you're like, oh, I've tested a bunch and I have like 50 images. I'll just go delete the folder instead of manually deleting an image. You know, just in case. Just testing things. I haven't done that. Nope. No idea. Never. Nope. Haven't done it. Have not done it. Absolutely done it. I have absolutely done it. Which is why we're doing that. And also it's just a good habit to check if things exist before you save them. And this goes across the board for any language that you use. But like, let's say you're like, oh, I want to make a folder that like as my like processed images folder or whatever, or like in your computer vision or machine learning or whatever it is you do these days. And you're like making a folder that you're uploading things to. Check that the folder exists, especially if you're using Python, because then it will be like, does not exist, fail, and all your hard work goes down the drain. Always check if the folder exists before you save to it. Just because it makes your life a lot easier, and it makes everybody else's life a lot easier. And then we're also going to rename the, what's it called? The, oh, you're going to fill it out for me? Yeah? No. Oh, there we go. Okay. Date now. You're giving me extra junk we don't need because I don't want the full path in my file name. Thanks. No. Yeah, so this is a formatted string. Got today's date. Yeah, cool. Great. Okay. Wowee. Thanks. And then we're going to have an empty images array to start us off. Just in case. And now we get to, oh, you're doing things for me. Thank you, Copilot. Is it actually useful? No, it's not, as usual. Thank you, Copilot. Let's redo that. All right, we have our upload. This is what we're going to end up calling on the front end when we want to submit our edited file. Let's go ahead and also add, I really appreciate that sometimes you like to give me things, even though you suck at it, Copilot. When I call JSON, I really want to get the list of images. Let's actually have this be the same thing for right now, because I just want to see if it will compile. Middleware function. Why are you yelling at me? Why are you yelling at me? Port / but I called API. What do you mean it's not? I did that though. I set up the middleware. That's literally this section. Okay. Did I skip something? Oh. Duh. It would help if I did this. so we can actually see it. All right. Maybe this will fix it. There we go. Pretty. All right, let's make sure this is running. Hello, backend server. Thanks for telling me hello world. Now, I think it's API images. Great. And we have our empty array. And if we do upload, that's supposed to be this. Oh, why are you not getting it? Maybe because we're not gonna, no. This works. I'll take this. This at least works. All right, let's go finish this one. Because it is a long boy. All right. File equals our request. And metadata is going to equal our body. And then, okay, you're not cooperating. If file does not exist, and return that. Yes. Error handling, always good. And then image data. Yes, we want information on our image data, which will be for now. I believe we said it was going to have an ID of images.length +1. And then we need a source, which is going to be. Now we can do our localhost in 5. No. You were so close. We should be using port here. A note for me later, because that's not good code. All right. Let's do file name. Pretty sure we can just no, because yeah, no. We'll deal with it later. And then metadata we already handled above. And then we're close that. And then images, we're going to push the new data to our array. And then we're going to return a status of 200.json image data. All right. Okay. We at the very least tested that our node server works. Is there anything else I needed to add? Don't believe so. So let's go ahead and open a new Git bash. Oops. All right. Stop opening that. Okay. So our React app is back. We don't have the, come on. I need to make sure that you can't navigate to that. That's something I'm gonna have to. Never save the password. Stop freaking out. All right. We need to make some connections now. So backend is done-ish. We'll spend a lot of time tomorrow on that. We need to go back to, gosh, where was it? I should not have closed those. Login is fine. Right, this. Uncomment that. And then get rid of this. And then what else did we comment out? We commented, no, nothing on app. I think it was upload modal. Yeah, this. Save that, save that. Oh, I can't read that. On save is not defined. Of course not. Thanks so much. Did I forget to pass something? What did I name it here? On save is handle save image. That should just be that. Why do you? Oh, it's fine. I didn't. The error went away. Duh. Upload image. What did I miss here? Oh, I need to import it. Derp. And that's what I didn't create. Yeah, that. Yes, yes, yes. You're going to yell at me. And now you're going to tell me it doesn't exist. I'm aware. I'm going to do a new file, call it API. And going to go to, now we use Axios. Why do I keep making folders? Let me make a file. Okay. Get rid of that. All right, we're using Axios for this just because I actually have a friend who like tested different API libraries way back when, and it was just the fastest that we had, and it was awesome. Base URL is not 3001, it is 5000, and the API that we made earlier. All right, export const, upload image I think is our fun. Yeah, because I can't find it. And that's going to be the form data, and then we want to deal with, sure, well, let's go fix that though. I think we're using the upload path, form data, content type, multi-part form data, response data, blah, blah, blah. Awesome. And then export const fetch images because we want to be able to get all of the different images that we have created. Yes, get that seems fine. Why do you upload image? Fetch images. But I fixed you. Let's just restart the server. Oh no, you still hate me. Can't resolve utils upload image. Why do you hate me? Oh no, people came in while I'm dealing with issues. Ha, horrible thing. No, I'm kidding, it's fine. It's fine. We're, again, doing a lot of heavy setup, so it's okay if you don't understand, because I don't understand either. Hey, it's one of the Ryans. Hello. Yeah, totally rewatched the YouTube video. We're doing a lot of code setup, so I expect a lot of people to go back and pause and rewatch because I just wanted the upload image part just done so we can spend time making a schema tomorrow, because that's more fun to me than doing all the setup. Let's see. Where did I go wrong? Can't resolve. Great. Why? Why dost thou hate me? Let's see. Details. Import Axios. Create base URL. Oh. Come on. Cooperate. And we don't need a slash either. Oh, wait. Wait. That's why. I need another. Yeah, that's it. I forgot. This. Why do I have it twice? I'm gonna deal with that later. That's a debug for later. Interesting. But I don't like that this is doing this. I will investigate this later so I can explain it. At least this is the only one. Oh no, but that's... I don't understand. Response. Great. Can't find in components. Really? Upload image. Oh, this is what I get for you. This is what I get. All right. Yes, I'm aware. It's terrible. Go choose a file. I'm just going to go find a file so fast. Dev post. Dev post. Open. Save. Please work. Please work. Come on. Why do you hate me? What did you do? Fetch images is not defined. Okay. Okay. All right. Dashboard. Am I missing something that's being imported? Yeah, I am. That's what I'm forgetting. At least I'm finding what I'm forgetting. That's better than usual. All right. Save. Okay. Let's close that. Upload image. Go find it again. It's not saving in my uploads folder, right? It shouldn't be working. No, it is. Interesting. Let's delete that. Move to recycle bin. Okay. No. Come on. Show me this file. I just want things to work. Can't find it. Okay. Open. We're going to zoom in, drag that in. I can't in good conscience actually cut off some things. Let me see it. Oh no, why do you hate me? We were so close to making it work. Oh no. And we're almost at time too. Rats. What did I miss up? No. We were doing so good. No, we weren't. We weren't doing very good. Alrighty, let's see. What's in the console? Is there anything in the console? Nothing to yell at me. Even worse. All right. I'm going to have to investigate and figure out why it hates me. But that's okay because I will have it fixed for when I push this to GitHub shortly. Next up is Kari's. She'll be up in like 5 to 8 minutes. And as for us, for checking in on where we're at, like I said, we had a lot to get through. Cool. Displaying images on the homepage if we have time. We did not. But we do have at least images that are submitted because if we go back to our backend, we do actually get uploads. So like somewhere, something is just not getting the images, which is fine. But let's go ahead and go ping that really quick. Oh, do I not? No, the server's running. Okay. The fact that there's no images tells me that there's something in my backend I'm doing wrong. Let's close that. Yeah, I'm doing something wrong in my backend. Okay, that's fine. But next up is Kari's. For us tomorrow morning, I will be focusing more on the MongoDB schema and how to make a schema and what design decisions we want to consider. So it'll be a very database heavy stream, more conceptual than like quickly set up everything that we possibly need. And then later tomorrow will be the third part of the stream. We'll actually like merge everything together, move things to Mongo, actually make it function locally. Probably start the process to transition to AWS. We'll see. But yeah, if this was a little confusing, totally fine. This was very much set up stream of me just coding as fast as possible. But upcoming streams besides Stickerbase, I do have a more real world example that I'm planning on doing about how to use PostgreSQL and what happens if you're given a very real world problem, which I've adapted from an old problem I had from way back when I was at my first internship, where I had to manually sift through the CSV, figure out what the relationships were, and go from there. You won't always get this experience, but this was how I ended up learning about databases and why I'm able to actually like create schemas very quickly. My hope is that this like depth first backwards up approach is actually something that might be different than the usual of like, here's our perfect data set. Here's how we create a schema for it, because that does not happen in the real world. And I think it's a valuable experience because scripting is a big part of actually putting your initial database together before you, especially if you have not planned for having a database and realizing that your CSVs are everywhere, which for companies like that makes sense. But yeah. And then I think we're having also an intro to Git workshop where I'll be revisiting a lot of things about using Git, how to do so, etc. Good way to wrap up the year, refresh your GitHub skills. I think we'll have some time to maybe work with patches. my hope. At the very least, we'll work with cherry picking if I can make it happen. I cheated because I already built it and I know it works. So I can start going line by line and figuring out what I missed. Yes, as for a schedule for this weekend, you can check it out at globalhackweek.mh.io schedule. And that will tell you more about what's upcoming. Like I said, Kari is coming up right after this. We have a jam-packed schedule. I am most of it. So if you get annoyed with me, it's fine. It'll be fine. Once this is all set up and good to go and y'all can clone it, I think life will be a lot easier. But if you wanted to look into things, like this is your preview, I guess. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for dropping in. I know it was, again, muttered coding, but like this was setup work, so it was necessary. I will try my best to familiarize myself with some of the stuff that came up that I was like, I actually don't know why ChatGPT told me this or Copilot told me this. So if you do have questions on them or you end up figuring it out yourself, feel free to tell me tomorrow in stream. I would love to see how you've learned from today's stuff. And if you're catching the recording, if I've missed stuff, then like try and jump into stream and be like, hey, I watched your recording, blah, 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 or send someone to do it, or, we'll figure it out. But GitHub link. Let me just figure out a good way to do this. Let me go quickly make a GitHub repo. New. Stickerbase. Create repository. I'm the owner. Automatically make me the owner. Come on. All right. Here's a GitHub repo that I will push to hopefully within the next hour with working code and how to run it. And you can play around, do as you like with it, etc. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and drop off because Kari's up and I do not want to interrupt her stream because I'm sure it will be amazing. Have a good weekend, y'all. If I don't see you in chat or if time zones make it hard for you to show up, no worries. Make sure you get a chance to go grab some water. I know I didn't give you a ton of time. I really try to do that, but we had a lot to get through. So, all right. See y'all.